Okay, so here's what we're installing today. This one is gonna be the easiest dash display we've ever done on this channel. Take a look at this. That's it. That is the entire display we're gonna be putting on today. But there's a lot of unique stuff about this one that we've never encountered before. For one, it's wireless. So not only is it the smallest display, it's also the easiest we've ever had to install. So a company called Tyler had asked me to install it, make a video about it. So I'm looking forward to see what you guys think about this. And of course, if this is the display that finally catches your attention, there'll be a link down below in the description if you guys want to pick one of these up with a discount. But look at this. This is everything. You got the display, you got a Bluetooth module, and we have the tiniest, cutest little wiring harness we've ever installed with. Now the location for this to be installed is the right pillar of the cars that have the AMD processor. We're gonna go through the install in a minute here, but you're basically gonna plug this into the blue OBD port that's just waiting for you in there. This little guy goes onto the Bluetooth module, and then this piece connects into the power. And that's it, super easy. And then the other thing you need, and you can buy it from their website or have your own if you already have a wireless charger, is just that, some kind of wireless charging mount that's gonna power the display. So let's get it installed and then take a look at it. Now there's very few panels we need to take off here. We're basically gonna take off this triangular panel, this one right here. We're gonna take off two snaps that are down below in this area, and then we're gonna pull the side out. We're gonna plug the new stuff in, then put it all back. And they do provide a little plastic pry tool, so grab that. You're gonna hook this here first. You're just gonna pull out, and then you're gonna pull up, and that little piece comes out. Now, the only reason why I suggest that we might take this piece off, because technically we don't need to for this install, is because I'll probably end up running the wire for the wireless charger to come out of the vent here on this top cap. So I'm gonna pull this thing off so I can lift this up, but we'll get to that in a minute. So for now, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna pull out this pin, this little clip like this. Then we just take it and pull back. You can see there was one clip right here that popped out. Just remember, we got to put that back in. Just kind of lean this over to the side out of the way. Next, I'm going to pull out this clip right here that holds the carpet kind of side of your foot wall back. And then just kind of pull this to the side. And that port right there, that little blue clip with nothing in it, that's what we're going to plug into. That's the first one. And then the power is right here. We're going to disconnect this guy right here, and we're going to plug the wiring harness into that. And then we're just going to tuck it all the way back in there, and it's going to be done. All right, so I'm going to take the male end down here. That clips right in. And then again, this is just left open here for in case you want to add another accessory, but this is not going to do anything for this time. We got the Bluetooth. We're just going to kind of tuck in here out of the way. Then I'm going to go down here and disconnect the power like that. I'm going to plug it into the other side, the female side of the wiring harness, and then plug in the male side back down. Then just find a way to tuck it all in there so you can close this all back up. Shouldn't be too hard. So now before I put the car all back together, I want to make sure that I got the wiring harness correct. So anytime we do an install like this, before you put it all back away, try your unit out, make sure everything is working. So on the little display here, we have a USB-C port on the back that we can use to power it up if we don't have some kind of wireless controller or wireless mount like we're going to do in a minute. So I'm going to plug this in, and you're not going to be able to see this right now because of the sun glare, but it is showing that my car is parked. It shows both of my doors are open, but we'll go through everything on the display in just a second. For now, I know it's okay to go put my car back together. All right, so the wireless charger we're going to be looking at with this install today is the one that actually Tyler sells. Okay, so again, you can use any one of them, but that's what we're reviewing today. So if you want to get the exact setup you're seeing here in my car, you can all on their website. So here's what it is. And these things are pretty simple. You have a cord, and I'm going to plug mine in for now anyway to the front console of my car, but you can also plug it into the back of your center console, in which case you'll need a longer cord than this, I think. We'll see. Then you have the wireless charger itself, and this is pretty cool. It's got some nice ventilation around the back. I don't know if you guys can see that really well, but it's pretty neat. And then it's also got some coloring on it, some lighting. It's a little LED light around the edge. So when I plug it in, if you can see it too well there, you got some coloring around the edges. So then what's gonna happen is when they connect, then it's gonna get power to this unit and it's gonna turn on. And what's neat about this is, let's say you don't feel like having this display. It's small enough on here that you can just take it off, snap your phone onto it, and then it's gonna double as just a phone charger. Or if you put it right at the center of your steering wheel like I'm going to, let's say for now you wanna use Waze. That's what's more important, use your Waze app. You can snap your Waze app onto it, then pull it off, and then, you know, snap your mini display onto it. It's very versatile, which is pretty cool. Now this is the base of it, and this is designed to go down into your vent, which we'll install in just a second. But to put these two together, you just loosen this guy up right here, put it over this little ball joint, spin it up and tighten it, and you'll be able to adjust it however you want. So let's get it installed on the dash. So now I want to install it right here in the center of my steering wheel because I want to be able to use my phone for alternate displays if I don't want to use this display at that time. So I'm going to loosen this up all the way, and the way these are designed, these little teeth right here go down into the vent, then you kind of push it over and then you tighten it and they pull up against the vent. So this rubber right here protects it so there's no damage that happens to your dash up here. So let's get these all the way down, and then we'll just tighten it up. And that gets super tight. And then of course you can adjust the angle of this and the tightness by how much you tighten this screw. So this way it allows me to connect my phone like that if I want, or I can come down and connect the mini display. That is so cool. So let's connect the power wire here, and then I'll show you guys what this all looks like from the driver's perspective. So the wire that comes with it's actually USB-C to USB-A. So you will need to get a USB-A to C adapter if you're putting it into, well, the model of the car you're probably installing this in, like my Model Y, my 2022. But I am going to connect it to the front of my car. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug in one of my current USB-C wires that I already have connected in my car to the bottom here. And you don't have to connect it to the bottom. You could just twist it like this and run it to the side, whatever you need to do to give yourself room or whatever look you want for it. And then we'll be able to put this on, and it's going to power up. So this is what it looks like from the driver's perspective. So this is like right at my head level here. So you can see that it is not at all blocking my screen. It's very small. It's like a little tiny speedometer there in the middle. I really love that. It works really well. And of course I can adjust it down or up if I need to. But like I was alluding to earlier, if you don't want this wire kind of running here, there's a few things you can do. You can put it on top of the screen so it's really out of your way there if you don't want to commit to it being in the dash. So one thing you can do is you can take it and pop it out of here, but you have to have a really small USB-C cord so you can kind of pop it out of there. Then you can kind of like run it down here back and plug it in, you know, back here or something. Or if you have a hub display like this, like I do, just kind of running it from there. There's already a few things about the wireless charger that I'm not a big fan of though, I'll just point out, and that is that it's kind of like flashing the connection to this device right now. You can kind of see it's flashing there, and when you take it and just put it on, sometimes like that it doesn't get a good connection. Well, it took a little minute on that one, but see, there it goes off again. So you have to kind of like move it a little bit to get a better connection. It definitely doesn't have like charging ports all over it or something that's not keeping the connection clean with this specific device. However, if you're worried about that and it does bother you, you can just disconnect it, and you can see there's a USB-C port right there, and just plug it in directly, and then you don't have that issue. So for example, that is it being plugged in directly to the unit, and of course I can move it any which way and it's going to keep a solid connection. So like I say, the unit you use in the back to hold it, the wireless charger, is completely up to you what you want to use. Just pick one that's going to have a good connection. Alright, so let's take a look at the display now. So I'm sitting in my car, all the doors are closed, so right now the display is showing that they're all closed. But watch this, when I open up my driver door, you can see it displays the driver door is open, just like it does over here on the main screen. On the bottom, it shows you the amount of mileage you have left on your current charge, as well as the battery percentage. And on the very top, in nice big lettering, it tells you what your miles per hour is. And when I put it into drive, you see the car does a little spin, and there becomes a new animation in there. It looks like a gray road that we're driving on. And you can't really see it right now, but we'll see it in a minute when I start to drive. On the left and right side, you have the acceleration and the regenerative status line that's going to pop up. So now the unit is a touchscreen, so if I tap in the middle, this display pops up with some additional options. So on the left-hand side, I have the open the frunk button. I press that, and you can see it shows the frunk is open, as well as it does down here. Over here, you have the trunk as well, which if you press that, it's going to open up the trunk. And you can see behind me that it opened, as well as down here. And what's neat about it is if you press it, it's going to actually close it. And you can see it closing there. Up on the very top here, you have what looks like a lock. It looks like maybe it's a way to lock up the car, but what it actually does is unlock the passenger door. So if I press that, you can see that the passenger door opened up. And it also displays it being unlocked. So if I shut it, then it locks again. And then down here is a button you can press to precondition your battery for charging if you're going to something that's not a supercharger. Now you can still use it if you're going to a supercharger, but typically when you're going to a supercharger, you're letting the navigation take you there, in which case it will do it automatically. And then when you're done, you just press that button and you're right back to where you are again, which displays my frunk being open. And for me to shut mine, I have Tylard's soft close setup, so I just drop it on there. Love that. So let's take it out here for a little drive, and you can see that as I'm driving, The speedometer is nice and big. It displays really, really well. It's just a slightly bit smaller than it is on the main screen over here, and it looks really nice and it's easy to see. It's not blocking the ventilation at all. I get lots of air that's coming through. It's a hot day and I can feel the air blowing on me, which is a problem with a lot of the bigger displays. And if you're just simply looking for a display to be in the center, have a couple controls, this is a really great option for that. And again, here's what's really nice. If all of a sudden I decide, you know what, I want my phone on there for something else, you can just grab it off, set that aside, you know, put your phone up there and the whole display is gone, because maybe you don't always want a display up there. Maybe you want to use, like I said, a different navigation app. And when you want it back up there again, you just grab it and stick it back on. So you get the flexibility of having it or not. You're not always committed to having it up there, which I think a lot of people are going to really like. So now this is programmed to work with auto steer, but it does not work with full self-drive. And let me show you what I mean by that. So if you take a look at the screen here, when I press down twice here in my wife's profile, which does not have full self-drive on it, it's gonna look like that, which is really cool. It's like you're driving on some kind of like a rainbow road. It shows the little steering wheel there that you're in autopilot, that it's been engaged, and all that. But now if I switch over to my profile, okay, and now full self-drive is engaged, you can see it just switches right over to full self-drive. You can see it over here. Look what happened to the screen. All it's doing now is it's displaying high beams, which are not, or auto lights is what it's actually displaying, not high beams. It's showing auto lights are on. It's not showing anything to do with full self-drive, autopilot, auto steer, or anything. So it isn't designed right now to display anything for that, but it still does do all the other stuff. Also, it doesn't display when you need to put pressure on the wheel. When as you guys just saw, when it's telling me I need to put some pressure, apply some pressure to the wheel over on the right side, which it does about every 30 seconds. It does not do that. It does not show that up on the screen, which again, that's fine. You got it all right here, but just in case you're wondering. All right, now that I've installed it, I've spent some time with it, I've driven around with it for quite a bit, here's really my kind of likes and dislikes, my thoughts on it, and really who I think this is for, and I guess we'll start with that. So I think this is for somebody who's not 100% okay with having the big center screen and no dash up front. And I think it's going to appease a lot of people who want the speedometer up front, your standard stuff like what gear you're in, small animation, without all the fluff and stuff of like CarPlay screens and all the baggage that comes along with those screens. This is going to really do the trick. I think it's also going to be for the person that wants it now and maybe not later. So you can take it off, remove it if you want, charge your phone on the charging pad behind it. I think it's going to be perfect for that person. Who it's not for is the person that wants the great big display with the CarPlay and everything else hooked up. But to be honest, a lot of people, what they tell me is after a couple months of using those larger screens, they pretty much only ever use them for a speedometer anyway. So I think this is going to be a really good fit for someone, and for actually most people that just want a little heads-up display or center display or whatever, steering wheel screen display. I think it's important to find a good wireless charger in order to connect this to. The one that I am reviewing right now with this one, I'm not a big fan of. It does hold it, but the connection is just not all that great. So this whole video, I've had it plugged in directly to the wireless display itself. I think the install on this is just super easy. Anybody can do this display. Because of its Bluetooth, it's super fast. There's no lag between the screen on either one, my main screen, and the little new display that we put on today are the exact same in terms of the speedometer. So the Bluetooth is good. I do like that you can open up your front passenger door. So if your wife's coming back after just picking you up a sandwich, you can do the gentleman thing and open the door for her. Or maybe if you do kind of a rideshare program, you can open the door for your passenger. And I just think the overall graphics of it are super clear. It's kind of like looking at an iPhone. Everything is very, very crisp. The unit is heavy. It's got some mass to it. It feels really high quality. Overall, I'm really impressed with it. But let me know what other questions you guys have down below inside of the comments. I try to get to them within 1 or 2 days. And of course, if you want to check it out on their website or purchase one of these for themselves, I'll have a link below with the discount. And I'll see you guys on the next one.